We good, ready? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody bow your head, please. Dear Heavenly Father, please watch over this group as we make decisions for the county. Please watch over the families that have lost loved ones in Texas. Please be with our United States and the countries around us as we struggle with each one of them and try to make the world go. In Jesus Christ's name we can say, amen.
Amen.
Okay, we've got our Scott County Redevelopment meeting tonight. It's July 10th, 2025, sometimes just after 5 o'clock. And first on our agenda tonight is the Scott County YMCA. You guys just come on up and find a seat. It's fine.
How is everyone?
Good. You can come up too, Kathy. So if y'all wouldn't mind, just brief introductions on who's with who, and I know we've got kind of two parties here.
Okay, I'm Melissa Woods with River Hills Economic Development District, and we are contracted by our Southern Indiana RDA to administer the Ready 1 and 2 grant funds.
Thank you.
I'm Lori Coomer. I'm the COO of Scott County Family YMCA, and I've been there for 8 years.
I'm Kathy Dodds, a former board member and office volunteer and exercise leader at the YMCA. Worked with Lori a lot.
Thank you. So what you got tonight?
So basically, we want to thank you all for your commitment of the $250,000 that you have allotted to us. We're asking if we could maybe have that split, or part of that to go to Ready 1 and the other part to go to Ready 2. We're not asking for more. We're just asking for that to be, and I have numbers as well, in the effort to match, basically. So.
Yeah, and I can build upon that if you want me to. We recently received bids on the project. We had 2 bids come in, and the lowest bid was $830,000 by Shireman Construction. That was more than what the predicted cost was gonna be for the project. So with that include, as well as the architect fees for the project and the feasibility study that was done early on, that total amount was $895,000. Currently, with the resources that they have in place for Ready 1, we're at $725,538.90. So there's a gap in funding of $169,661. Sorry, let me correct that. $169,461.10. I will let you know they have applied for a grant through Samtech Cares. That timing is a little off from what we need to get things going in the IEDC's eyes. We will know about that funding in August. They have applied for $75,000 from Samtech Cares. If they get that full amount, it will be matched dollar for dollar by the Lilly funding at the Community Foundation. So that 75 turns into 150. But unfortunately, obviously, we can't count funding they haven't received yet toward the project. And IEDC wants to see this project moving and construction going by August. So we're kind of at a shortfall as far as timing goes. So that's why they're here asking to utilize some of those funds that you had previously committed to the Ready 2 project, and get a portion of that to Ready 1 so they can get moving on the Ready 1. And Ready 2 can't happen without Ready 1.
How much were they awarded for Ready 1?
It was $560,500.
And what's that for?
That is,
That's for the envelopment project, the whole area. Because without the envelopment being done first, I mean, nothing else could be done. So primarily, that's what that's for.
and I don't know if y'all have been out there to look at the building, but it's in dire shape on that end.
Sure.
So it's bad. I didn't realize until I was inside and then just on the outside. It really needs to be done.
And you said you had 2 quotes?
We had 3 entertaining the bid, yes, but Jill, we only received 2. one did not end up quoting or submitting a bid on the project. The other quote was quite a bit higher. It was, I could look up the number. I want to say it was around 940.
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
Yeah. So,
I was thinking 971.
yeah, that was McRae Enterprises who had submitted that bid.
It was not 71.
And how much were they awarded for Ready Two?
Oh, I think it's right at 1 million.
Yep.
Sounds right.
We're hopeful about that Samtech grant, but you can be hopeful all day long.
Have you ever applied for it before?
We have not.
Jamie Toby prepared that on their behalf, and I reviewed it. I mean, it was a very good application, but it's all about who you're up against, so.
Yeah, she did an awesome
Yeah,
job. She really did.
Yeah,
So basically what you're saying is that you can't do anything if you don't get the first one done.
they can't, because without that envelope,
The envelope,
Being done.
the enclosure.
then they can't complete the inside and the expansion, so.
Here's the problem I have with it. We were, back when we were asked for this, the way I understood it, we stood good on the Ready One. So we dedicated $250,000 to match on Ready Two. And now we find out we don't even have the Ready One money to do what we were told we were going to do. And if you take half of what we have set aside for Ready Two, then we're gonna be short on it. I just see major problems myself.
Can I speak to that too? Because we still have a timeline up till December 31st with the Lilly grant to raise more money and double that money up until December 31st. So that's a little bit in our favor there. I mean, it gives us a chance to,
What are we doing to raise money out there?
right now, what are we doing?
We're contacting a lot of corporations. We're trying to set up, we're trying to sell seats, if you will, to the corporations for childcare, meaning that they will be guaranteed an X number of, amount of seats for their staff, their employees. We're boots on the ground. We are literally on the phone daily, having meetings and all that. And if I may, as Melissa said, the bid came in higher. Even with the 15% contingency that they put in there, it still came in higher this time than the previous bids we
What was
had.
the first bid, 650?
660 or 657, something like that. So the bids did come in higher, which that's out of our control, basically.
Yeah, are you done? Yeah. Are you finished? Okay, I just want to ask some questions just to make it a little simple, because I'm catching all the numbers, but I want to make sure I understand. So Ready One, we said we needed X. Okay, so you went out and raised X, all right? X was, what was the initial ask?
The initial bid,
No, for Ready One, you had to get so much money and it was matched,
I
correct?
think you're talking about the Lilly funding.
Well, is that the match?
The Lilly funding is what's matchable
Okay, all
by
right.
donation.
Okay, so what was your initial goal for your raise in Ready One?
So the portion that, if I may.
go ahead,
Okay,
please.
so 205 is a threshold that Lilly was going to give. They have to match it with 205, so 205,000 to 205,000.
Okay, so Ready One then, our goal at the Y was to raise 205.
For the Ready One,
For the
205 was part of that budget.
And then that
Yes,
would give us 410.
yes,
Okay, so, okay.
you got it.
All right, so what happened was, how much did we raise?
So as of last week, the foundation had a balance of Lilly, the donations were $70,019.45, and that was matched by Lilly at $70,019.45.
So we're 135,000,
140.38.
140.38 is our shortfall in our raise, correct? For Ready
Well,
One?
that's what you've raised, so it's about 70,000.
60 or
It's
70?
not set, it wasn't all right? No, it's
Okay.
not, that's not right.
Okay.
110, math is
Yeah,
hard.
it would be
Talking on-
seven.
That's okay, I just take your
Yeah.
time. I want to make sure we all,
I
everybody
wanna
here
make sure.
understands what we're
Yeah.
talking about. So it sounds like your initial goal for Ready One was 205,000, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, how much did you actually raise?
70,
70. So that leaves us 135,000 short,
perfect. Yes, you got it.
right?
That's
Okay,
right.
all
But
right.
it was matched with 70.
Exactly.
So
So
that's not true.
I've asked
It's
Jamie.
205 minus 140,000.
No, it isn't. No,
It's the 70 in the account
Plus the others.
plus the other 70. That's $140,000.
And you are able to utilize that all on Ready One. I made sure with Jamie on that.
Correct. But if we had raised the whole 205,000, we would have had 410,
And now we just have 140.
and we only have 140.
Okay, I got it.
You got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Ms. Baker, is that okay?
Yeah, that's, yeah, it's the 205 minus the
Okay,
140.
all right. Okay, so we were gonna raise 205, which was gonna be matched,
Right.
right? We raised 70, which was matched.
Yeah.
Correct.
So we're 130,000 short of the initial goal. Okay, initial goal. Now we get a bid in from a contractor and it is way outside because you did your ask based on what you thought the bid was gonna be, correct?
That was,
We had a previous, someone had came in the past and had done a bid. I don't remember.
Well, 205 came up, that number was calculated. Somebody came up with that number.
yeah, we were provided numbers for the scope of the project,
Yes.
for the Ready, the Ready.
But was 205 the project that was just what we wanted to, what you wanted to raise in Ready One to be matched? So 205, if the project was gonna cost $410,000,
No.
No, the total project cost, and let me get.
The 205 would have just been their match.
Yeah, that's from,
Right.
that's from Lily.
Right.
That was our, that
But
was.
that would have been your match towards Ready One.
but it would have given them 410.
For
But
the
who made the
project.
decision, who made that decision that Lily was only going to match 205,000?
Lily.
Yes.
That's
So that was Lily. Is
Yes.
that because
So then you
because I
get
was out of
the
the board at
the
that
ready
time.
Okay, I mean,
money itself,
that was
not
for
the
Julie
Lily
match money,
stipulates that.
Right,
Yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah.
the grant.
But
Oh,
why,
gotcha, okay.
did
Okay.
he ask
That
for
is
205?
just a match,
confused.
and
Is
they're
that-
falling at about.
I don't know those
I don't know
answers.
that.
I don't know that answer.
I don't.
Yeah.
I have that.
Okay. Can you hand that to Jennifer?
Okay,
more copies of that.
thank you
So
for
the
this.
top,
This explains
I'm sorry,
exactly.
I
no,
should have handed that.
That's fine.
So the top is what's committed thus far. Yeah, okay, to the project. In stone, and you'll see there too, Austin Redevelopment had initially committed 25,000 to the Ready Two. They have already motioned to commit that to Ready One. So they did the same thing we're asking you to do, to help with this effort.
But what are we gonna do with Ready Two once we deplete all these?
Okay, so I got the numbers.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I got the numbers, I understand. So is there any problem with the Ready One versus Ready Two monies that we committed? So we committed to Ready Two. We said we were gonna do 250. Are we gonna be in a contractual problem by switching, or if we decide to switch Ready Two money to Ready One money? Because is it all one big happy Ready something and we're okay to go back and forth between funds? Or will there be some kind of problem with receiving money?
I mean, it's two separate projects as far as they're concerned. If we fund this one and this one goes through, then when it comes to the money they were awarded for Ready Two, I mean, if they don't have the money, then Ready Two's not gonna happen for them.
Right.
Okay,
Right, you're exactly right, yeah.
But you're thinking you might get another grant.
We're
Or
very
about-
hopeful that Sam Tech Care.
well, my point is, I don't want to get you in trouble and I don't want us to be in trouble if
Right.
we say, okay, well, we said Ready Two, 250, great, we're not gonna do that now. We're gonna take half of that and throw it over in Ready One. Let's just go when we give it to you.
Okay, all I can tell you to that, as far as from our side, is my supervisor, actually his last name was July 3rd, but I had this conversation with him before he left, and he's still over Ready. He's contracted to still take care of Ready. I said, Corey, is there any problem with this? I asked him before we asked Austin to do it, and he said, no, Ready One has to happen if they want any thought of Ready 2 happening, and it's fine to do that. So from an RDA, IEDC standpoint, it's okay. Now, on your side, I
Well,
put
we
things
can,
down.
I mean, we have to discuss what we're doing with the money, obviously, and before we start giving money out like that, but I just wanted to make sure I understand what you said and what your boss who's gonna quit said. And that's all good, and it sounds like common sense, but I want to make sure that we don't get in trouble.
And that's why I asked him. I didn't want to make that call. I wanted to
Yeah,
make
is
sure
there a
that it was
covenant? Is there
okay.
some issue?
Yeah.
So now we've promised Ready 2, we can withdraw $125,000 off of our Ready 2 commitment. We'll have to have, I guess, a motion or amendment or something, right, to do that. Otherwise, they might come back and say, well, now, wait a minute, you said 250. Or you could say that, hopefully that wouldn't happen, but anyway, it just feels, anytime we're dealing with fund accounting or anything like this, there are a lot of times these different funds have different rules.
Oh,
And
yeah.
as how you allocate the money to these funds.
Yes.
Especially within the YMCA, you have different funds. Can we take money out of the flower fund to do the pothole fund, or can we take, no, you can't do that. But you can't take money out of the snack fund and put it in the gym fund or what, so, okay.
We can't remodel buildings, and we can tear them down and build new. That's what we ran into on the fairgrounds.
Okay.
But you're thinking too, that if you do get this Samtech grant, that's gonna more than make up the difference of.
I mean, it
It's just your
will, you know,
hoping.
and what we're always battling is, you know, I mean, I'm just gonna air it because it's a fact, you know, we could very well go out for Ready 2 bids and they come in high too, you know, nobody knows.
Right.
All we can do is operate off of the scope of the project
But
and
you gotta get the first one done
we
to start
do,
with.
yeah.
Well, okay.
Is the $25,000 being taken in consideration now at this 169, 460, 110?
Yes, so that top, Jill, it all adds up to the 725, 538.90, which is the total resources that have been committed today.
Okay.
And then these highlighted amounts, the low bid for construction for the 830, and then the architect fees for 50, and then that Beacon Street Consulting, that was a feasibility study done early on.
For the pool.
For the pool,
To
yeah.
see if it was feasible for us to try to save the pool.
So when you consider all of those, that gets you a total project cost of $895. So the gap is the $895 minus the resources that have been committed to date. So we would need a motion or you to entertain a motion to cover that gap and take it from the
You need to know this
250.
tonight.
It's pretty.
I found out about this morning. I have not had no time to look into nothing. And I was a hard sell on the Y money to begin with. I'm not comfortable voting to take, I've done a lot of research, a lot of looking into, putting that money into the Ready 2. As an organization, the fundraising out there is at about a third of what their goals are. And we've thrown public money after public money after public money at the Y. I just don't, I've got a lot of questions,
Let's hear
a
them.
lot of concerns.
Such as what?
Like I said, I found out about this morning. I've not had time to look into hardly nothing.
What do you need, what do you need to look into?
Well, I'm not comfortable with taking $125,000 that we basically give y'all for one project and moving it to another on a whim.
They're not gonna have the
But you
other
gave them the
project.
250 to begin with.
Well,
You gave them 250 to begin with.
not for this project.
Well,
It's
all the
all
same
one
project.
Well, that's fine. Y'all can outvote me. I'm just voicing my
I
opinion.
understand what
Yeah.
you're saying, but this is all for one project.
This
and
is
they don't-
all,
No, it is not. This,
It's,
Ready 1 and Ready 2 is two totally different projects.
it's two different funds, but it all goes to the John Hill.
It all goes to the
Preschool
YMCA, but
yeah, it's all,
splitting hairs.
Well, so.
it's all to rehab the pool.
Yes, and so John, I understand what you're saying and actually,
yeah.
we can agree with some of what you're saying, but after we're talking here, understanding that Ready 1, Ready 2 doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they're all going towards the same end. It's not Ready 1, we're putting in a casino, and Ready 2, we're putting in daycare, and we're switching it from the daycare to the casino. It's all the pool, getting that ready for the end. Just one other quick question. I hate I'm a numbers guy, so I'm just trying to make sure I understand. So we had, is that all you had to say? Okay. 169 is the gap, so we have 205 limit from who, Same Tech or Lilly?
No, that's Lily.
Lilly, okay, Lily's 205. So Lily's gonna give you 70, so that gives us 135,000 left that they will match.
Correct.
So why are we just not giving you 130,000 instead of 169? Because the 130 times 2 is 260 or whatever so wouldn't that take care of it? Because you don't calculate your match in here for our 130.
Well, this is matched to date. So up here, you'll see donations for Lily.
Lily's 70,
Yeah, and
matching,
then the matching is 70.
yep. So you've got 135,000 left that Lily's willing to match, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
This is
But they have to
205.
raise it.
But they have to raise that.
We have
Like,
to raise it.
It's matched,
We
dollar
cannot
for dollar.
we cannot use the redevelopment funds to be matched
Oh, how come?
because
Because-
it's from the government.
It's public funding. You
yeah.
can't match public funding.
Yeah, it has to be raised
Wait
dollars.
a second, we're ready to, we gave 250 to be matched, didn't we?
That's matched from Ready.
And it's
Lily,
local.
Lily is a total separate pot of
Gotcha,
money.
gotcha.
And the match, like that was a
I got it.
local
Okay,
match.
okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
Very good question.
Yeah.
But I get,
Yeah, that was good.
I get it.
Well,
Yeah, I do.
that was a wonderful question, but I don't know we accomplished anything. So you still need 169, right?
They do.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we've done the math. It's just,
I'm gonna say,
I've tortured this every way I can.
100%. They're not gonna have the money when it comes to Ready 2. I'm on camera, 100%, they're not, because it's all the bids are gonna come in high. But I do feel like there are people invested in our community that will help as much as they can to try to help them get their goal for Ready 2. It's not gonna be us.
When did we start the fundraising for Ready 1? When did we start for Ready 1?
2 years ago, maybe, I don't.
And we,
2023.
so
22
we've
years.
managed raising $70,000 in 2 years.
we didn't start, the 70,000, we started that in 24, correct? January 24?
A year and a half, 2
Yeah,
years,
okay,
I'm not splitting
70,000
hairs,
I
we've
know.
had a hard time raising $70,000 at the local level.
Right.
And I find, I don't know, I have a hard time with that.
The 70,000, that's actually from the Lily. That's not the
70 times
Ready 1.
2, that means we've raised 70 and Lily's give us 70.
Correct. Which is
So-
$140,000.
In the better part of 2 years, we've raised $70,000 local.
Well,
Not for this.
Redevelopment's 25, so that's 95, right? Right?
But Austin's can't be.
Austin does not match.
Again, it's
He's just
it's a
saying
different-
rates.
It's all-
He's
I'm
He's
just saying
just-
what.
He's
Using
just
local
saying,
funds.
he
I'm
is
just-
saying, if you all needed to raise money, he thinks you've done a poor job in raising money in 2 years to
Absolutely. Well,
come
and
and
that's
show
one of the reasons-
$70,000.
That's one of the reasons was we've also had to make substantial changes at the YMCA recently. That is one of the biggest reasons.
Yes.
If I may.
Yes, 100%.
Well, that's why they're here asking us for.
I'll go back to say, I'm on camera saying, I do think you're gonna have a hard time getting Ready 2, and I will go on the camera and say, if you have to come back to us for Ready 2, I will be a no vote, because we have already given the 250. But tonight, to get you through Ready 1, I, whether you get the votes or not, am gonna make the motion that we move the $169,461.10, which is the gap in the funding you need for Ready 1, to go towards Ready 1 with the remaining balance, I'm not a calculator, of the original 250,000, to be distributed to you at the time of Ready to funding.
Well,
That's my
were
motion.
they asking for half of the 250?
They're asking
They're
for
asking for
169,
169,
461.10.
169? Okay, all right, very good.
Motion's on the table.
Second,
Okay, Jill's made a motion, John's made a second, and again, this is to fill the gap funding of $169,461.10 out of the $250,000 that we previously obligated to the Y for Ready 2. And we'll fill the gap for Ready 1 so they can get the project off the ground.
I will also be a no vote if they come back for ready.
But guys, can I just,
Again, there is a balance that we have.
Right,
This
exactly.
is-
The
Additional
balance will be what
monies.
they get.
Any
monies
additional?
we would be in.
guys, do we need to rescind the 250 first and then make the motion to give them 169? Or does it matter?
It's all
I
on
mean,
You could
funds
put
It's
in a
our-
motion that you're taking 169, 461,
from the
10
original.
out of the 250.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing,
Mhm.
okay?
Okay,
So we had a motion, John second, all in favor?
And thank you kindly
One
for
no.
listening to us.
We had one opposed, Johnny White.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks for your patience on the number stuff.
That's, we want you to ask questions, just so you know. I live out on West Creek. Road.
Hey, do us a favor, will you please keep us posted on progress, right? I mean, that's,
Starting any day.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we wanted to come, to kind of open up the communication too. Because you know I'm big on communication.
Even if you
Well, we need
get
to know.
like progress pictures or whatever, I mean, the city page would share it, visitors commission would share it, like social media, we would share anything that you get.
Well, we appreciate you very much.
well, and I appreciate you coming as well, Melissa, because you're representing those the big state dollars. I mean, River Hills is obviously representing that money as well, so thank you.
Absolutely. And anytime anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to, I didn't bring cards, but Greg knows how to get a hold of me.
Sure,
Jill
we-
knows how,
we
Jill's
know
on
how to
our
get
board.
hold of
She
you.
knows how to get a hold of me. And Jennifer, yeah. I will say, we'll need to update a letter because what we need is just a Ready One letter showing that Ready One commitment.
So sense of urgency is yesterday.
Yes, so our hope was to have a contract signed by tomorrow. Obviously, we knew we were coming here tonight, so I don't foresee that happening until the beginning of next week. But what we were pushed against was the RDA meeting occurring in August, and we need a pay application to be on the docket of that meeting to get that money moving. So that's where we backed up. I should have probably explained that earlier, backed up to where we are today.
So Greg, what we need to do,
Letter.
I'll work with Jennifer to
Yeah, what-
get
I can help you.
If you're gonna be here tomorrow, we can. work
I will
on
be
it
here tomorrow. Let's
Yeah.
just work, I'll be here in the morning, so
Yeah.
I'll just help you with
Yeah,
that.
we can do that
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Do we need to have a motion for you to sign the letter outside of a meeting? I'll
That
make
would be good.
motion.
Okay, motion for me to sign outside the meeting.
Second.
John Collins seconds, all in favor. So unanimous on that.
Wait a minute, was it 4-1 on that one too?
No, 5.
no, it was unanimous.
Oh,
Um,
Even then.
Yeah, we can get that for you tomorrow.
Okay.
And since you're going to be in here.
All right, and I'll
we'll
let
get
the
that.
architect know that he can let the contractor know. We've already got a draft contract, so that should happen fairly quickly.
Can I ask just a quick question? Who is in charge of fundraising at the Y right now? Who is?
Well, Jim Watts, he's our interim CEO, and typically the board takes over that. So Jim and the board and Kathy and me, basically, we all pitch in, we do whatever we can do. I deal with a lot of the corporates with their HR departments, et cetera, and, try to get those seats to those childcare sold and try to get their memberships in. So,
Okay,
yeah, between the board, Jim, Kathy, and myself, we juggle it all.
all right.
So,
Well, good luck.
Will one of you please let us know if you do get the Sam Tech,
You'll probably hear me jumping for joy. So.
just to know that, that you got.
we definitely will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And the Y's never received that before, right? The
I
same
don't
tech.
think,
Not to my knowledge, since I've been there.
Several years ago, we received like a 30,000,
Yeah, was that for after school?
maybe.
That was an after school. They paid
They
after school
supported.
for,
Okay,
but it wasn't the
That's
same
been several
tech
years
cares.
ago.
yeah,
That was 8 years
And it
ago.
was 10,000 or 30,000.
It wasn't, 30 would have been
I
top.
think it was before I was on the board, so.
Yeah. But thank you so much for the questions. We really do
So
appreciate
you're
it.
a numbers guy.
Yes, I am.
Good.
And I would
I got
have
your
called
name
you as
now.
such.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, Kathy's a numbers
No.
lady.
Jake's wanted to know.
I do a lot of the bookkeeping out there, even though I'm a retired music teacher.
Oh.
I am not an accountant, but I do a lot of the bookkeeping and work with Jessica Jones on that. So I do the kind of the grunt work and let her do the finesse.
There you go.
Okay, yeah. So you know. You know.
I know where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And I'm all about faith, and all about faith and getting out there and getting the word out.
Well, we want to support the Y for sure. Redevelopment does. So
Well,
we're just trying to make sure we're understanding what the situation is.
And that's fair.
we're
I've done
just-
a lot of the
we're supposed
grunt
to be-
work out there, cleaning out all of the bird poop and the feathers and the rust and the equipment, moving all the equipment out,
From
cleaning it
Florida.
up.
Okay.
So that's where I've been the last couple of weeks, working on
Well,
that.
thank you
Since
for
it's
So,
ready to go, now it's ready to go.
Oh, wow, that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
She did it
She's a
all.
little dairy farmer girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
old farm girl, yeah. So,
But once again, thank you all for your time.
yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
thanks. Thank you. Okay, next on the list would be the Scott County School District 2 Athletic Department. We've got Tanya and Jamie Lowry via somewhere in Florida, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what do you got?
Do you want me to introduce
Or
myself to everybody?
Jamie? Yes, please do. I'm sorry, Tanya.
Okay. My name's Tanya Thompson. I work at Scottsburg High School in the athletic department. I work with Jamie. I'm his administrative assistant. Jamie, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jamie Howard. I'm the athletic director at Scottsburg High School. And the reason why we're here tonight talking to you, we kind of had an odd situation across the state of Indiana, something for the university is actually looking into. Our athletic fields, we about 10 years ago, probably about 10 years ago to the date, where we transitioned our fields over to a warm season grass, Bermuda grass. And there's always a chance that during the winter time, you could have some winter kill, you could have some situations happen where you're gonna have some damage to the field. A lot of times it's minimal, it doesn't happen often, but this past winter was, and then into the spring was such a weird one where we had that snow that sat on the ground for a long time. And then the spring, we never had a warm up. It stayed cloudy, rainy, cool, and a lot of golf courses, athletic fields at other schools across the state ran into a thing where we had winter kill. We wound up having on both our soccer and football field, but soccer wasn't nearly as bad as the football field. The football field, if we did nothing to it, would be about 80% bare mud come the football season. So we had to make a decision on how to fix it. And basically it was a total renovation. And the company that originally did the sprigging 10 years ago came back and we had to have them re-sprig the field totally. And that was at a cost of a little over $18,000. Now,
Would you guys
that was
mind?
just them.
We got
Oh, go
Everybody's
ahead, I'm
got one.
sorry.
Everybody's
No,
got
I
one.
don't think I do.
Sorry, Jamie, go ahead. They have one.
I'll be all right.
Okay, so just to explain what sprigging is compared to seeding, a lot of your warm season grasses, Bermuda grass and zoysia grasses do not have a seed where you can actually plant it and grow it from seed. So they take live grass, they take it and they basically take sod, they chew it up, and then they just kind of crimp it into your fields. And then you have to water it like crazy and fertilize it. So we're about on week 3 right now because we had to make the decision because you only have a small window when they're cutting the sod and when they can put the sprigs down. So if we don't make a decision for them to do it back at, I think it was the second week of June, then we're not getting it done because that sod, that Bermuda grass sprigging is going to another school, another facility somewhere else because they can't keep it or save it for you. It's either you do it or you don't. So we made the tough decision that we had to go ahead and move forward with it because without it, we don't have a football field basically coming this fall. Now, that company just does the spring, all the heavy maintenance and physical labor is me. So I have to go in once a week, fertilize it. We do the mowing, and I have to set the irrigation schedule to make sure that the field stays moist so that the grass will grow in. So that come the first week of the season, when we have our scrimmage, that field will be ready to go. And I'm totally thrilled with where we're at with the field right now. It's about a week or two ahead of schedule because it's been so hot, and that grass loves that heat and the humidity. But the problem that we have is, in the past, projects like this would have come out of our capital projects fund. I would have annually got some money for capital projects to improve athletic facilities in the district wherever they need it. But recently, I've had to transition over to basically being self-sustaining out of the athletic, our ECA account, which is our extracurricular account. The money that's in that account comes from our ticket sales, sponsorships, advertising, any fundraisers that we do, and Tanya is responsible for the majority of that fundraising and stuff that goes in there. And the bulk of that money, as I mentioned, comes from ticket sales. So we have to take money from that fund in order to pay for this project to be done. And that's kind of put us in pretty bad shape because not only that, we have the two mowers that take care of the field that are over 10 years old. We put a lot of hours on. They both had to get some repairs recently, and the repairs total for the two mowers had come up to over $10,000. A new mower, just like it, costs $62,000. So obviously it's cheaper to repair than it would be to buy a new mower. But as I mentioned, this money's coming out of our HCA, so now that money in that account is normally used to buy our uniforms, our game day equipment like basketballs, volleyballs, tennis balls. And so we're kind of in a little bit of a bind here because we had to make that decision to spend that money on getting that field ready come the 1st of August. So I approached Greg first because, I wanted to talk to him and see if it was a possibility for you guys to listen and look at possibly helping us with this project. And I know probably one of the things that you would want to know is this field used for more than just football. And yes, it is. Our middle school, it's at our middle school. We're kind of across the state, we're known for kind of the oddity of our athletic fields. We're half of them are at the middle school, half of them are at the high school. The middle school, we use that field for different things, whatever, in the fall and spring when the weather's good. But I would also like to expand on that. We have an internship program and an externship program that I would love, and Tommy and I talked about this. I'm getting older, and it's hard for me to get out there every day and do the physical labor on these fields. We've got a great FFA program. We've got this great internship program. And a lot of these kids, the farmers in the community, they know what it takes to, spray the fields, treat the fields, do what we need to do to try to help save money. And I can use those kids in turn to help me take care of those fields and do the things that we need. So I would like to turn those fields, including our baseball field and all of our fields in general, into a classroom for these kids as an internship as well. So that, as I get older and I'm not wanting to be out there every day after hours on the weekends, that we've got these kids, and that's something, because a lot of them will wind up, there's great programs that produce that these kids can get into, and I just think it'd be a great program, and that's something I'd like to expand on as well. So does anybody have any questions right now so far, anything I said, just to help clarify?
So the fund that you're talking about, extracurricular account, is that right? Is
Yeah.
that intermingled? I've always heard about the band. Our band has a lock on the concessions or whatever, and does that go into that extracurricular account?
So we're kind of different than most school districts. We've got different concessions setups depending on the sport. So our minor gym concessions, which would be our boys and girls basketball games, they're minor gym. And then the middle school concession stand is ran by the boys basketball boosters, girls basketball boosters, and the band boosters. And they're on a 2-year rotation each, where one of those boosters will be the coordinator and run the concession stand for a 2-year period. Then it rotates to the next group and so on. And whoever has that for that 2-year period, they get, I believe it's 40%. I think, is that right, Tony?
Yeah, 40.
And then the other two groups get 25% each, and then 10% goes to the athletic department. So just for example, like out of this past year, a little over $3,000 from concessions went to the athletic department, while the rest of it went to those 3 different booster clubs. And that money did go into that extracurricular account. Now, as far as football, down the football field, the football boosters run their concession stand, and it's a similar situation with the contract we have with them, where 10% goes to the athletic department, and then the other 90% goes to the football program.
Okay.
That's
So-
why, Brad, as a parent, you know what games you're on the hook for to work.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe what my question, it's veiled, but do you have other levers you can pull on funds with other accounts? For example, does the band booster account have a $80,000 balance in their, I'm sure they don't, but in their fund? And you don't have access to that?
No, so band being co-curricular, they're a little bit different. They do get some district funding, but their boosters is separate from, and basically booster money, I can't really have access to any of the booster money. That goes to the booster clubs themselves. The only thing that like I said, just that 10% that I get back from those concession sales each year is the only thing that the athletic department gets. So combined between football and then the other ones, it's probably combined about a little over $4,000 that we will get, that will go into our ECA account. So that really is a small portion of what goes into our ECA. The largest portion is really the advertising that Tanya does. She'll hit up a lot of the businesses in the community. Without the advertisers in our community, I don't know any athletic department that could survive without that type of funding from your advertisers, your sponsors. But of course, and as you guys are aware, just like with the YMCA, we're all hitting up the same businesses. We're Austin and Scottsburg and the YMCA, we're all one of the same businesses. We all know them and we're all hitting, and they're fantastic and they support everything every time they can. And we're so thankful for that. But without those dollars, it would be really tough. And we also will continue to do it this year. We do not charge our students to get into any of our events. We do not charge our staff. So, and I don't know, I can't tell you exactly how much money we would make if we did charge them, but I don't think that's something we would entertain wanting to do. I would want to keep our kids to have that free access to all the events and our staff as well for everything they do.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody got anything?
Maybe we should put a 25% tariff on the band.
Yeah.
We could do that, maybe. Even things out a little bit.
Well, and just from, it sounds like you guys' budget's a little bit more unique, right, from the overall budgeting that goes on at the school. And I only asked Melissa because she's on the school board. Folks that know.
Yeah, you're fine, but we're totally separate. Like I'm right now, like working on my advertising and, without donations and without people advertising and our ticket sales, that's why I'm so big on the ticket sales, the gate money. And honestly, people that complain at, buying a $6 ticket, I'm sorry, but that goes in our ECA account to pay for these things and to buy our kids uniforms and basketballs and to pay for our officials and, so that's why we do it. That's why we have to charge it. It's important. So
It's,
that's how we get our money.
it's big business.
So no
Athletics-
student pays to get into anything?
No, our students are free and our staff is free.
It's pretty impressive.
That is awesome. I didn't realize that.
I didn't either.
It's been that way for a few years, right, Jamie?
Well, this will be our 6th year of letting our students in for free. And I kind of caused stirred up the hornet's nest with the other athletic directors in Southern Indiana
I
area.
bet.
Whenever I post that each year, they get mad at me, and it's kind of forced their hands, and other schools are doing it. I just think it's a great, our kids need to be there. It's a great thing for them to be at. They need to be at these events.
We do.
As you guys know, it's not like it was when we were kids. We don't have a lot of the things or they don't anyway, the entertainment locally. So they feel like they have to go out of town sometimes. This keeps them at home, gives them something to do, somebody to look up to when they're out there watching. I will say, when I took over as athletic director, this will be my 10th year, the former athletic director, he kind of bragged about how much money he had left in the account for me, but compared to other schools, it was very minimal, maybe a fourth of what other schools would carry in their athletic ECA. And when COVID hit, that really hit us hard because we couldn't let any fans in. And our account got down to almost nothing. And thanks to Tanya and the things we did, and of course, when you have some success, you sell more tickets, we were able to really get that account up. But with having to take care of some of the facility things now, with having that kind of put on our plate, and then having mowers break down when you don't expect it, and then having a total kill on the football field. And I should have probably printed out pictures for Tanya to show you. You would be shocked at what the football field looked like a month ago compared to what it looks like right now. And it would not have been a safe surface for our team to play on had we not made this move. And like I said, with that short window, I had to make a decision, and the company was willing to work with us. They knew our situation right now, and they were willing to break it up into payments for me if we could not get the funding we needed in the time we needed it. So that was going to help us in turn to kind of get those sponsorships and stuff if we had to try to get over what we normally would get to help offset this cost that we just, we hadn't planned for.
And the golf courses ran through some similar problems in their fairways with what the school was running with their grass as well.
Yeah, and Aaron Patton, who's at Purdue, he's doing a study. He's probably the world's most renowned warm season grass professor, and he's doing a study on what actually happened here, trying to figure out. And basically, when I say renovation, we went to a totally different variety of Bermuda grass. Before we had a North Bridge Bermuda grass, we're going to Tahoma, which is supposed to do better in cooler situations. It came from a soft farm out in Colorado, so we're kind of hoping that we see a big difference in this and that we won't run into the problems like we're running into. And Tony and I already talked, we probably will look at the northern half of our soccer field, redoing it next year. And we're going ahead and planning on that now, even if we don't have to, then that money can be spent somewhere else. But we're going to try to do some stuff starting now through this time next year in case we have to do that. I hope we don't. Right now, what I'm doing to kind of bring the soccer field back is I'm fertilizing, aerating, just watering, just going crazy, trying to push that grass to spread and grow.
Well,
Jamie, this may be a crazy question, but is this at all insured?
No, unfortunately, it's not. We've ran into situations. One was our pole vault pit a few years back, paid $18,000 for it. Big storm come through, ripped it all apart, tore that thing was brand new. I had to reorder a bunch of it, and we found at that point in time that it wasn't, unfortunately.
Okay.
well, just for the board's benefit here, when Jamie reached out to me, I did talk with Frost Brown Todd, and they did say that as from our standpoint, from redevelopment standpoint, as long as it could fall under educational programs, such as, whether it's gym class or other activities, whatever those are for the school to use, would fall in those guidelines for them. So I have to, anytime there's something like that folks reach out to me, I always bounce it off our legal folks to make sure that we can, and they were comfortable with the request. So just from our board standpoint, I did cover that on our end.
Good. So what's the ask?
The ask is for $18,300.
So any amount would be appreciated, is what you're saying then. Thank you.
At this point, any amount would be appreciated, yes.
Is there a motion to?
I'll make a
Pay-
motion to pay the invoice for 18.3 for Scott County School District 2 Athletic Department.
Bill makes a motion. Brad second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We got two.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Tanya.
It's greatly
Hopefully that helps.
Jamie, enjoy your vacation. I know you're the
Thank you,
hardest,
guys.
hardest working AD in the state of Indiana. I guarantee it.
I appreciate you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Tanya,
Thanks for all
look
you
into that
do.
25%
Yeah.
tariff to the band. Look into that, will you?
Yeah, I know you worked your tail off
Yeah.
over there, so
Thank
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
I'm
Scott,
still-
you're right along with them, so.
I pull him
Yeah,
along
I know.
too. He's out there with me too,
Yeah.
helping, and he helps Jamie a lot.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tanya, can I ask a question? I know we've already voted and everything, but
Yeah.
when I went to high school, we had an activity fund. We had to pay, when we registered, we had to pay like $8 or $4 or whatever.
Mhm.
And that got us in, we showed our ID and it was in New Albany and we got into whatever event if we had our student ID with us.
Well, that's
Do
kind
we
of
do
come up.
that here?
No,
What, did we used to do it?
I don't know. I mean,
Cause that would bring in some revenue right there.
Yeah.
Just-
I
And
was
that's
thinking
kinda
we
come
did
up in
whenever the
this-
dinosaurs roamed the earth here.
that's kind of come up in
You trying to say I'm
discussion
old?
No, I'm
before.
saying when I was old, in school, and then back in the 70s, I'm thinking when we had an ID and we gave,
I thought
maybe
we
paid
did-
$10 for
we
it,
did
whatever,
too.
and that got us into all the
We,
I think the
It was a
school board-
discounted price.
yeah, that has come up in discussion before. We've
I
talked
mean,
about
$10
that.
back in 78 was a lot. or
Yeah, maybe paying like a
75 was a lot of money, too.
$25 fee in the
And you just put it
beginning.
on the registration when
Yeah.
everybody registers.
That's been
Just for
discussed
junior high or
with
high
us,
school,
but
you know? Anyway, I just was asking.
Well, I also want to mention this as well. This is how important athletics has become to our community, whether it's Austin, whether it's Scottsburg. You talk about driving redevelopment. If we didn't have that football field, I don't know what other activity brings in more dollars. You're talking about stimulating our restaurants, our gas
Yeah.
stations, overall community, is those football games,
yeah,
hands down.
we have
Hands
a
down.
big crowd.
Yeah.
We do.
So,
On Friday nights. it's-
Yeah,
Well, I'm in the loss.
Even our-
I've never been to one, so like I said, I'm in the loss and don't see that,
you
so.
don't get there late, or you'll have to
oh, it's packed.
park here and then
Yeah.
walk that way. So, yep. So, yeah, thanks for all you do.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Jay.
you,
See you,
Jamie.
Jamie.
Thank you. Yeah.
We had Frost Brown Todd on here next on the agenda. I guess this is just a talking point, really. I will need to get with them to have them work something up. Not only for Scott 2, but Scott 1. We talked about that. We haven't got there with them yet because there was some potential other funding that was going to fall in place. Now that we've got some direction on that's going to come from our board, I'll go ahead and Scott 1 has sent me kind of an overall plan and estimate for that. Yeah. So I have that now, and I will send all of that to Frost Brown Todd if everybody's still in agreement with that.
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
So again, just a talking point on there. Anything else with Frost Brown Todd? Anybody got any other things,
Well,
questions?
I just want to ask real quick. I think it was on our minutes and it reminded me, did everything, John, come out okay with the 94 we gave the Scott County Fair Board? Did they-
I have not been down there. Jennifer just asked her a little bit ago and she said that they did get the bleachers in.
Well, I went down and looked. It looks really, really nice. All that looks great.
Yes, it does.
But I was just curious if they had any more.
I don't know how they're coming with the lighting and the electrical and all that.
Okay.
But they have been working hard on it because they had hit the fair. And then Monday after the fair, they had to go to Michigan and get the bleachers and had an event the 5th or 6th of July and had the bleachers together.
Okay.
But I know the buildings are not built over the bleachers yet either as far as that, but they're progressing with it still, so.
All right. I mean,
It's, yeah.
I mean,
it's just curious.
Yeah, well, I was going to try to, if we have another meeting in August, see if they can come in and give us an update. And
That'd be
maybe some drone pictures. Absolutely. So we
Yeah,
can see
because
what's
Jonathan's got that drone. He
Yeah.
could fly over and
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And it does. The week of the fair, it looked awesome down there. They've got it gated off and things where they can make the fairgrounds a lot better. The whole arena just looks awesome.
Well, the more that we talk about these things, I had no idea until they came in and I had
Right.
no clue. And then we did the money and then I went and looked and thought, wow, this is really nice.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a good thing. So it's important. I think we all understand what we're spending money on.
Right, well, exactly, and I think they want to be transparent with us too, as far as what they're doing.
And they have,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've done a good job.
okay, that's it, Greg, I don't have anything else.
Okay. The only other thing we have tonight is consideration of minutes. We have those. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes, and is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Johnny White makes a
I'll
motion to
second it.
approve the minutes. John Collins seconds. All in favor of approving minutes?
Aye.
Aye. All unanimous?
I wasn't.
You wasn't here.
Can't
Yeah.
vote.
And it's marked absent, so.
Yes,
That's been a while, I've forgotten that part.
that's okay.
I move to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. If anybody doesn't have anything else.
In there.
Sorry, Johnny. Sorry. Is there a second to adjourn?
Second.
Brad Stott seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.